Hi everyone, welcome to the Knowledge Effects series with Save the Children and Weston Buddies, where we will be talking about various topics that relate to different issues that happen amongst youth in the world. This is day 3 of Weston Buddies Takeover week. Our topic is on inclusion and how it affects the Weston community and broader citywide area. So let's begin. Part 1. Why inclusion is vital within the Weston community. So, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the definition of inclusion in regards to people with disabilities is the act or practice of including students with disabilities in the general school population. This is an important definition of inclusion because in so many ways it is vital to be accepting of all people, no matter what disability they may have. In many ways, Weston is a unique school because we have many resources and clubs such as the Guidance Office and Weston Buddies, which help to make students more part of the community. All of these school resources do a large amount to help students with disabilities feel as though they are a part of the Weston community. Fostering community amongst every student plays a vital role in many aspects of school life. This is because it is vital for everyone to look at others as equals and not to perpetuate stereotypes about people who may be different. According to the magazine Ed Canada Network, in a study that was conducted on the impact of enhancing students' social and emotional learning by Durlark, Weisberg, Dimnicki, Taylor, and Schellinger, it was determined that programs that taught social and emotional learning to students provided many benefits, including improved emotional skills, improved attitudes about themselves and others, and improved connections to the school, as well as improved positive behavior and improved school attachment. This quote proves that it is vital to always have an inclusive attitude in any educational setting, especially one at Weston. Overall, inclusion is one of the most important parts of the Weston community and helps to bring all students and teachers together. Part 2. How inclusion plays a vital role within the broader Toronto community. Within the City of Toronto, the community has done an excellent job at making the locality a more diverse and welcoming place for people with disabilities. This has gone a long way in making people who have disabilities feel more welcomed and a part of the broader citywide community. In many ways, Toronto is a model city for how people should be treated fairly and equally in all aspects of life. This has made it possible for inclusion to occur within this community and for all people to be treated as equals. According to the City of Toronto website, the city recognizes the dignity and worth of all people by equitably treating communities and employees fairly, providing services by consulting with communities and making sure everyone can participate in decision-making. This quote shows that the City of Toronto has adopted an inclusive policy that makes sure that all people are treated fairly in all aspects of the working environment. The City of Toronto does a large amount to recognize people with disabilities by acknowledging the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Many different organizations across Toronto recognize International Day of Persons with Disabilities on December 3rd, such as QP, that does a large amount to give support to people that have a disability. In many ways, disabilities can affect anyone, and not every specific impairment is visible. This is why it is so important to be inclusive of everyone and to not make assumptions. Overall, Toronto has done an excellent job at recognizing people with disabilities and making sure that the city is a more diverse and welcoming place, which is of course vital in this modern day. This is also a part of my slides just to really show that it's important to recognize people who have a disability. Part 3. Why Weston Buddies is such an excellent club that fosters inclusion at Weston Collegiate. So the club Weston Buddies is an excellent organization at Weston that fosters inclusion amongst all of its members. Through Weston Buddies, members are able to interact with one another and practice their social skills, which leads to beneficial friendships in the future. Within Weston Buddies, the club does a large amount of work to make all members feel welcomed within the organization. This is done in a number of ways, but usually whenever a new member joins the club, they're asked to tell other colleagues a few fun facts about themselves. This is an excellent first step for new members within the club, as they are able to move outside of their comfort zones and talk about themselves, which helps other colleagues get to know that person. Also, usually at meetings, members play games as a group, and this helps to build friendships amongst everyone present. As a club, Weston Buddies does periodically do collaborations with other clubs, such as the Art Club at Weston, which always helps to bring out members' unique talents. The collaborations with other clubs are important for members, as they're able to attempt conversations with other colleagues who might be outside of their usual friend groups. Whenever Weston Buddies does events around the school, they always make sure that all members are included within the discussion, as well as take on larger roles within the planning process. Overall, Weston Buddies is an inclusive club that fosters diversity amongst all of its members. Part 4. What everyone can do to make their communities more inclusive. Within our communities, we can all do a tremendous amount to make them more inclusive. This can be done by simply opening the door for someone, or as far as petitioning entire institutions and organizations to make them more inclusive. According to writer Rebecca Salustros, 5 ways to make communities more inclusive are by creating inclusive classrooms, designing accessible communities, making workplaces more inclusive, increasing disability representation in media, politics, and business, and actively engaging within your community members with disabilities. These are all general ways of making your community more inclusive and accessible, but they are important first steps to creating a more accessible and diverse society. Canada as a whole is an inclusive place and does a large amount to make people who have disabilities feel more welcomed and included within society. This can be shown through the Accessible Canada Act of 2019 that prohibits the discrimination of people with disabilities. This is an important first step for Canada, as through this act, people who have disabilities can know that they are protected under law. Also, this act brings to light that the Government of Canada supports everyone and wants citizens to be represented fairly and equally. Overall, as a community, we can all do our part to make the cities, towns, and institutions of Canada a more inclusive place through small acts of kindness. Thank you, everyone.